Welcome to MILFORD House. The house was built and designed by Robert McCrum, proprietor of the celebrated firm McCrum, Watson and Mercer, a linen manufacturer who revolutionised the linen industry and who built the model village of Milford. World famous as the home of William McCrum, inventor of the penalty kick rule in football. The house is the wonder of its age. Built with 90% mass concrete, it is the earliest known house in Ireland built of concrete on this scale. It was the first private residence in Ireland of hydroelectricity, with its own power station at nearby Lisbonneau Mill. The plasterwork was designed by the philosopher Rudolf Steiner, with the beautiful interiors which were designed by Italian craftsmen who stayed in Armagh City and walked 3 miles out to Milford each day. From 1936 to 1965, it was home to Manor House School, Northern Ireland's only country house school for young ladies. It then became a special care hospital. Purchased by Armagh Council in 1996, it was sold under a highly controversial sale in 2002 and remains in private ownership. It has been derelict since 1994 and since 1999 has been declared one of the top 10 listed buildings at most serious risk in Northern Ireland. Fortunately, the Milford Building Preservation Trust, which was set up by Stephen McManus at the age of 15 to save Milford House for the benefit of the nation. Because Milford House is not accessible, the contents and family possessions are located in a historic house in Victoria Street in Armagh City. Robert McCrum had a dining table which seated 24 people with 12 bronze cherubs as table decorations. The chandelier hung so low that Tony McCrum, when he was 4 years old, thought it would fall and crush him. The dining table is famous for having a proper waterfall and a table fountain in the centre of the table with 4 electric ceiling fans. The Thomas Sheridan sideboard dates to 1770 and displays family silver and silver plate. The portrait of Robert McCrum is by Harry R. Douglas, which was his retirement present from Armagh Council, in which he served as chairperson for 40 years. The library at Milford House was much admired by the Manor House School girls. Sadly, the 4 original bookcases were removed by the hospital authorities and were said to have been used as firewood. The small bookcase is from the library of Milford House. The portrait is of Harriet McCrum, painted in 1899 by Harry R. Douglas. She married the Reverend David Miller and was a founding member of the women's suffrage movement in Ireland. She later wrote to Stalin and told him how to run Russia in detail. The library of Milford House was dispersed in the 1930 auction. William McCrum gave over 200 books from the library for the creation of a public library in the R.G. McCrum Institute. He allowed the Boy Scouts in the village to borrow books from the library at Milford House. The bureau belonged to Robert McCrum's grandson, William McCrum Miller, who was resident magistrate for County Tyrone. He was the only magistrate in Northern Ireland who was allowed a dog in court during sessions. The clock was a wedding present to William and his wife Peggy from Judge Johnson. William and Peggy were chosen to attend the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. This is one of the main reception rooms. The room is being restored to its original appearance, and the chairs and settees were originally covered in gold tapestry and gold velvet. The drawing room contains 28 paintings, and Robert McCrum had an important art collection. Cranmer taken to the Tower by Frederick Goodall is the original painting. The Tower of London has a copy. The Dutch cabinet, dates to 1780, contains 19th and 20th century watered crystal which belonged to the family, and a Copeland dessert service which belonged to Peggy Miller's brother J.V. Collins. It has travelled all over the world, from Ceylon to Galway to Reading, Edinburgh and to Armagh. The magnificent chandeliers by Everett and Co. of Lewisham are 3 of the 4 chandeliers made for the drawing room in 1898. They are extremely rare, Milford House having been the first house in Ireland of hydroelectricity. They were found in a cowshed near Milford and have been restored by the Trust. Milford House was the first house in the county to have a telephone. There was a telephone in this room connecting to Milford factory so Robert McCrum could keep an eye on the business. In the time of the Manor House School, this room was the headmistress' study. The much cherished headmistress, Mrs. Jean Killen, kept her 1907 bureau, which was made in the Glenarm estate, between two windows. If she looked to her left, she could see who was entering the house through the front door, and if she looked to her right, she could observe the girls in the garden. In the time of the Manor House School, only 10 members of staff were allowed to use the front staircase, while 70 girls had to use the narrow back staircase. The pictures in the stairs are being arranged according to the 1930 auction catalogue. They include steel engravings by Alma Tadema, the photographs of Africa. In 1899, Robert Gomley McCrum took his son-in-law, the Reverend David Miller, on a cruise down the Nile in the hope of improving his hearing problems. William McCrum was County Commissioner for the Scouts in County Armagh. He said of the Milford troop in the Armagh Courthouse, "They may be mill boys, but the best kind of gentlemen." Thanks to him, the boys in the village always got a holiday each year. Milford House has 12 bedrooms. Each bedroom had plumbed-in washstands. 5 of the bedrooms had brass beds, which were considered much healthier. The bed linen belongs to William and Peggy Miller and has their initials sewed into them. The wedding dress is of Harriet McCrum, which she wore in 1898. It's silk with satin made by Mrs. Boyd of the Seven Houses in Armagh. Her wedding was published in the Armagh Guardian and was described as one of the society events of the year. Her wedding list was 3.5 columns long, while the groom's wedding list was 4 lines at the bottom. Come and visit Milford House, 3 Victoria Street, to hear more of the stories and see more of the rooms. We look forward to seeing you soon.